I'm the sports professor, Rick Horrow. Welcome to Beyond the Scoreboard, Inside the Mega Events. It's a trillion-dollar sports business, to be sure, and about 50 to 60% of those dollars are wrapped up in the mega events, the championships, Super Bowls, All-Star Games, World Series, Wimbledon, tennis majors, golf majors, NASCAR championships, IndyCar championships, Ryder Cup. All of those too numerous to mention. I'm in my office to kick off the show, but I'm not here a lot. I'll be on the road on a weekly basis to bring you the inside tips from those major events. The balance sheets, who wins, who loses, the interviews, how you put on the events, and how you sustain them. This is all brought to you by Edelman Financial.
Money doesn't come with instructions. That's why we created Edelman Financial Services to help you with everything from college and retirement planning to managing your investments, helping you achieve retirement security. We're among the nation's top financial advisors. Come see how we can help you.
Sports Professor Rick Horrow, Facebook again at mega events. This one mega for the city of Washington and the environs. The Capitals defend the Cup. The puck drops for the 2018-2019 season. We'll look at the economics, and it's been a couple of days. This is at Verizon Now, Capital One Arena, and the Capitals have had 2 days to try to figure out how to get past the Redskins and others as far as number one sport in the community. Well, Ted Leonsis and Zach have certainly helped that. A Stanley Cup title certainly also helps that. Let me tell you what also helps. The Capitals are number 11 in value, according to Forbes, over $600 million. The Leonsis don't care how much they're worth because they're not selling, but they have a great company, Monumental Sports, all around this. This is the back of the Capital One Arena. Before the game starts, there will be more, and there, of course, will be basketball games as well. The value of an average NHL franchise, nearly $600 million, up 15%. Just take a look at some of the key markets. New York is up over $1.5 billion. Toronto, about $1.4 billion. And when you think about the numbers, Toronto and New York done well. $30 million deal with Chase in New York, and a $640 million 20-year deal with Scotiabank for the naming of the facility in Toronto. Certainly hockey in Toronto, they should be number one or number two. Washington, higher middle, certainly the fever has caught on. There are a couple of other issues, for example, like expansion. $2 million in 1967 for expansion franchises, $50 million for the 8 franchises during the period of 1990 to 1992. The Vegas Golden Knights last year, 50 with another zero, $500 million. Now take a look at Seattle, and obviously the expansion price climbs and climbs again. Media deals clearly important. 10% stake in BAMTech with hockey in the NHL. Hockey involved in the baseball property? Absurd. ESPN buys controlling interest. The market valuation of the entire entity, $3.75 billion. Kudos to Gary Bettman. He's obviously made the right decision. Let's go upstairs to the bowl of Capital One Arena, and we'll talk about the challenges the NHL faces in 2018-19. It is 2 hours before NHL face-off week, the defending champions. It's going to be lively. You see some big-time programs and favors and paraphernalia here in Washington as Ted Leonsis and Zach and everybody celebrates the defense of the Stanley Cup. It is interesting as the NHL crescendos. There are some challenges with a league whose total revenue is $7 or $8 billion, as we said. First of all, internationally, the NHL is taking a look at the Middle East. We've seen some NHL stuff in Dubai when we were there. China, 3 billion person market. Even if a small number of people are hockey fans, it's a good thing. Eastern Europe as well, starting some preseason games and regular season games in some strongholds. See NHL in Eastern European countries and traditional European countries, so keeping that momentum going as well. Speaking of new markets, NHL seems ensconced in Seattle. making sure that the construction of the renovation of Key Arena goes as well for 2021. Congratulations to Gary Bettman, NHL Board of Governors, and the Oakview Group. How about cultivating Houston? Is that a market that Phoenix should go to? Does Phoenix get done itself? Or are there some other issues as well? So market stability, a second big challenge. Third, maximizing the revenue from gambling in the right way. The American Gaming Association commissioned a study that talked about $206 million of incremental new revenue per year. That means introducing or increasing fan engagement by about 3.3%. So that's where that comes from. The NFL number is a lot higher, but the bottom line is the challenge as it relates to maximizing the revenue from gambling. It's quite interesting that a few years ago we wouldn't be touching gambling. NHL, a bold, successful move into Vegas. Now look at the potential dollars that are there. Overall, the average revenue for an NHL team is well in three figures, and according to Forbes, has become $150 million per team. The income up 20% as well. So the obvious challenge is how to grow the game, how to keep the revenues significant, how to make sure markets like Florida, whose franchise, according to Forbes, is worth about $300 million, remembering that New York and Toronto are about $1.5 billion, how to lower the discrepancy between the haves and the have-nots. Overall, Gary Bettman, the longest-running commissioner, and certainly having his ability unquestioned as a leader of the business of hockey globally. Let's see how we can move into the future boldly, starting with the Capitals dropping the puck, extending their interest in preserving their Stanley Cup. And the bottom line of all of this is really important, building on a legacy, a city, an arena, an ownership group for years to come. Sports Professor Rick Horrow, Facebook at a mega event, the opening of the 2018-19 NHL season.